All right, welcome back, everybody. This is Bruce from the Epic Experiment and Garbage Were Great. And we are back with a brand new deck tech, new week, new deck tech. Sometimes, folks, I'm going to be very honest with you. I brew decks not because they're any good, but because I just like the commander and I want to do something with it. This is no exception. If you've known me, you know I have a soft spot for the Transformers cards that were printed with Brothers War, and I have brewed, just about all of them as commanders. So I'm going to add to that collection. We go one bigger. We're going to go to Soundwave, Sonic, Spy. All right, so everyone loves Soundwave. So if you remember the Transformers original one, he's the one that is a tape deck and has mini robots that jump out of them. So let's read Soundwave. So 1 white, blue, black. So he's a Esper colored commander, legendary artifact creature robot. He has more than meets the eye for 2 white, blue, black. So you can play it for the other side if you want. Whenever one or more creature tokens you control deal combat damage to a player, exile target instant or sorcery card with mana value equal to the damage dealt from their graveyard. Dealt from their graveyard. Yeah, copy it. You may cast this copy without paying its mana cost. If you do, convert Soundwave. And then Soundwave transforms into the other half of Soundwave, which is Soundwave Superior Captain. It's a legendary artifact. Whenever you cast a spell with odd mana, you convert Soundwave. If you do, create Ravage, a legendary 3/3 black robot artifact creature token with menace and death touch. When you cast a spell with an even mana value, convert Soundwave. If you do, create Laserbeak, a legendary 2/2 blue robot artifact creature token with flying and hexproof. So you want to the idea is that you want to be able to get these guys into play and do some other fun stuff. Now, I have elected to build around the front side of Soundwave, whereby I'm looking to have creature tokens deal combat damage to my opponents to go and get things out of their graveyard. And then you can go and, once you have that in action, you can go and do things. So we're going to talk about how we're going to get tokens, how we're going to ramp, and then how we're going to try and win the game. I'm going to be very honest with you folks. I'm mostly building this, and I recognize this is probably a bracket 2 list because it is a little bit dubious in terms of how it's going to win the game. It spins its wheels, but doesn't really close out games very rapidly. So let's talk about it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, we're going to talk about how we're going to ramp, because we want to ramp. We have a 4 mana commander with 3 different color pips. How are we going to get there? So we have an Ornithopter of Paradise. So this is 2 for a 0/2 flying or artifact creature Thopter, tap to add 1 mana of any color. We have a Wayfarer's Bauble. So Wayfarer's Bauble is a single colorless, and then an artifact, 2 and a tap, sacrifice Wayfarer's Bauble, search library for a basic land card, put that on the battlefield tapped, and shuffle. We have a Azoria Signet. So 2 for an artifact, 1 and a tap, add blue and a white to your mana pool. We have a Sol Ring, and we have an Arcane Signet. All right? Pretty simple, pretty straightforward, not particularly imposing. All right? Next, let's talk about how we're going to draw some additional cards so that we can keep going here and get things well underway. All right? So, first thing we're going to talk about is going to be something like Intrude on the Mind. So 3 blue for an instant. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library and separate them into 2 piles. An opponent chooses one of those piles, put that pile into your hand, and the other into your graveyard. Create a 0/0 colorless Thopter creature token, artifact creature token with flying, then put a +1/+1 counter on it for each card put into your graveyard this way. So this is going to draw you some cards, add instant speed, similar to Fact or Fiction, and then once that has happened, leaves behind you a body. That's a token that you can use with Soundwave. All right. We have we're not talking about that right now. We have Verity Circle. So Verity Circle is 2 and a blue for an enchantment. Whenever a creature an opponent controls becomes tapped, if it isn't being declared as an attacker, you may draw a card. And then 4 and a blue, tap target creature without flying. So I often use this as a way to help me draw some additional cards. It looks really clunky, but you'd be surprised in a commander game how many people tap things for other reasons other than making mana, so you can draw some additional cards. We have a Dockside Chef. So Dockside Chef is a single black for a 1/2, 1 and a black, sacrifice an artifact or creature, draw a card. So since we're going to have tokens around, we can probably draw some additional cards. We have a Village Rites, which says single black, instant, additional cost to cast a spell, a sacrifice creature, draw 2 cards. Okay. We have a Tricacious Welcome. Tricacious Welcome is 2 and a white for an enchantment. Whenever one or more creatures with mana value 3 or less enter the battlefield under your control, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. So, you can draw some additional cards. All right? We have a Ripples of Undeath, which is not typically what we would play for something that is as a card advantage, but 1 and a black for an enchantment. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, mill 3 cards. Then you may pay 1 and 3 life. If you do, put a card from among those cards into your hand. So this will generate your card selection, and will go and get you something which you want, digging pretty good. All right? We then have, we'll talk about the other pieces, the 3 pieces. There are some value pieces here. Let's talk about how we are going to slow our opponents down so we have time to cast our tokens, get them into action, and do some stuff. All right, so the first thing, we have an Imposing Sovereign. So Imposing Sovereign is 1 and a white for a 2/1. Human, creatures your opponents control, enter the battlefield tapped. So it's a stacks effect. You slow them down. Haste creatures and other such things don't come in. We have a Blind Obedience. There's a similar line of text. So 1 and a white for an enchantment with Extort, meaning you can pay, anytime you cast a spell, you can pay a black or a white, and you drain each opponent for 1 life, and you gain 1 life. Artifacts and creatures your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. Again, so we're going to slow our opponents down. Things that come out with haste are going to be tapped down. And then we have Ghostly Prison and Propaganda, which are 2 enchantments that are pretty well known, that you got to pay 2 additional mana to attack me for each creature that's attacking. So, slows your opponents down. It can be a little bit frustrating, and just enough to deter people from coming after you hard. All right, let's next proceed to how we're going to derail our opponents to slow them down so Soundwave can resolve what he needs to do. Because you're an Esper, you get access to all the best of removal and counters and kill spells in the game. So, let's talk about Infernal Grasp. All right, 1 and a black, destroy target creature, you lose 2 life. Cool. All right, sounds good. We have a Solitude. So this is one of the elementals where you can exile a card to it to evoke it, or you can cast it with Flash. It is lifelink. When it enters the battlefield, exile to 1 target creature. Those creature's controller gains life equal to its power. So it's a source of plowshares on a creature. Pretty cool. We have Drown in the Lock. So a white and a black for an instant. Choose 1. Counter target spell with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of cards in its controller's graveyard, or destroy target creature with a converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of cards in its controller's graveyard. Okay. Useful counter spell or a kill spell. Fracture. Black and a white for instant, destroy target artifact, enchantment, or planeswalker. Okay. Getting rid of some of the most problematic permanents in the game. Sounds good to me. Fell the Profane, 2 black, destroy target creature or planeswalker. It is an instant. It is also an MDFC, so you can play it as a land. We have Flare of Denial, 1 blue for an instant. You may sacrifice a non-token blue creature rather than pay this spell's mana cost, counter target spell. So we have some blue things that we can sacrifice to cast it for free. Seems good. Strict Serenade is a card I'm quite high on. Single blue, instant, counter target artifact, creature, or planeswalker spell. Its controller creates a 2/2 blue bird creature token with flying. Alright, so sometimes you just need to have a really cheap way to interact with their Scary Bomb, and a single blue mana is a pretty good trade. Deluge of Doom, so 2 and a black, sorcery. All creatures you control get -X until end of turn, where X the number of card types among cards in your graveyard. So I'm banking this as 3 mana, -3/3 or -4/4, or maybe -5/5 even. It's kind of Toxic Deluge kind of territory without being Toxic Deluge on my life total. Feed the Swarm, so 1 and a black, to sorcery, destroy target creature or enchantment an opponent controls, you lose life equal to the permanent's converted mana cost. Just flexible ways to remove their things. We have Lauren of the Third Path, 2 and a white for a 2/1 legendary creature, human artificer with vigilance. When Lauren of the Third Path enters the battlefield, destroy up to 1 target artifact or enchantment. Tap, you and target opponent each draw a card. So you can play some politics with Lauren, but it's mostly there as like the elf that does it too, right? So we have Witch Enchanter, 3 and a white for a 2/2 human warlock. When Witch Enchanter enters the battlefield, destroy target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls, and it is an MDFC on the other side if you want it. We have Swords to Plowshares. Cool. We have a Path to Exile. Some of the cheapest removal you can play in the game. We've got a Dismember. So this is 1 and a Phyrexian black, black. Target creature gets -4/-4 till end of turn. This is often 1 mana, 4 life, kill something dead. Then we have, you find the villain's lair. So 1 blue, instant, choose 1. Foil their scheme, counter target spell, or learn their secrets, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards. I like this particular effect because it's modal. You can use it to pitch, you can use it to counter, so draw and pitch, or then to counter. Seems super useful to me. Cleansing Nova is the board wipe here, the second one that I run. So 3 white, destroy all creatures, or destroy all artifacts and enchantments. So you can pick the mode that suits you best. Seems good to me. We have a Dovin's Veto, so a white and a blue. This spell can't be countered. Counter target non-creature spell. We've got a counter spell, so blue, counter target spell. And then last but not least, we have a Flare of Malice, so 2 black. Instant, you may sacrifice a non-token black creature rather than pay this spell's mana cost. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker with the greatest mana value among creatures and planeswalkers they control. This is frequently their commander that's going to get nuked. All right, let's talk about how we're going to make tokens. We've talked about how we're going to stop them, how we're going to ramp, and how we're going to draw some extra cards. Let's talk about how we're going to be getting tokens and whatnot on the battlefield so we can put them to use. All right, we got a bunch of ways to make tokens. So, great examples right here. We have Wing Splicer, so 3 and a blue. For a human artificer, it's a 1/1. When Wing Splicer enters the battlefield, create a 3/3 colorless Golem artifact creature token. Golem creature tokens you control have flying. All right, so this is going to be this is where I sort of started with this deck. I wanted to see if I could have enough of these splicers that would make interesting golems to I could use as my tokens. They're a little bit chunkier. They're not terribly more expensive to play, but it's kind of a tall order. So you got to go with things like Sensor Splicer. So that's 4 and a white for a 1/1 creature artificer. When Sensor Splicer enters the battlefield, put a 3/3 colorless Golem artifact creature token onto the battlefield. Golem creatures you control have vigilance. Okay. Then we have Malkador. So yeah, Malkador, Purity Overseer. 1 white blue for a 1/1 legendary creature, Phyrexian Elephant Wizard. When Malkador, Purity Overseer enters the battlefield, create a 3/3 colorless Phyrexian Golem artifact creature token. At the beginning of your end step, if 3 or more artifacts enter the battlefield under your control this turn, create a 3/3 Phyrexian Golem artifact creature token. So you're making Golem tokens to see what you can do with them. All right. We also have, where did it go? We have a Precursor Golem. So Precursor Golem is 5 for a 3/3 artifact creature Golem. When Precursor Golem enters the battlefield, put 2 3/3 colorless Golem creature tokens onto the battlefield. Whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery spell that targets only a single Golem, that player copies that spell for each other Golem that spell would copy. Each copy targets a different one of those Golems. So you could have them all get exiled with a single thing, but you could make a bunch of Golems and make them fly, which seems fun to me. Then we also have some other toys that we can make some tokens. So when we draw, so this is Mischievous Mystic, so 1 and a blue for a 2/1, and then as flying, whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a 1/1 blue fairy creature token with flying. So you draw a second card, make more tokens. Whirler Rogue, so 2 blue. When a Whirler Rogue enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 colors Thopter artifact creature tokens with flying onto the battlefield. Tap 2 untapped artifacts you control. Target creature can't be blocked this turn. Okay. We have Teysa Karlov, so 2 white and a black. Legendary creature, Human Advisor. If a creature dying causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers additional time. Creature tokens you control have Vigilance and Lifelink. So your Golem tokens now get Vigilance, and they have Lifelink, which seems good. Okay, Toby, Beastie Befriender. So 2 and a white for a 1/1 legendary creature, Human Wizard. When Toby Beastie enters, create a 4/4 white beast creature token with this creature can't attack or block alone. As long as you control 4 or more other creature tokens you control have flying. Yes, please. We have a Cemetery Protector, so 2 white for a 3/4 with flash, Human Soldier. When Cemetery Protector enters the battlefield, exile a card from a graveyard. Whenever you play a land or cast a spell, if it shares a card type with the exiled card, create a 1/1 white human creature token. Okay. We have a Cybernetica Datasmith. So 1 blue black for a 0/1 artifact creature, human artificer, protection from robots. A blue, tap, target player draws a card. Another target player creates a 4/4 colorless robot artifact creature token with this creature can't block. Okay, seems kind of neat. Nice way to make a 4/4 thumper if you need to. We have Kaikar Zephyr Awakener. So 2 white blue for a 3/4 legendary creature bird wizard flying. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, choose 1. Exile another target creature you control. Return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. Or create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. So when you cast a non-creature spell, you can blink something else with Kaikar, particularly one of the splicers to make more golems. Okay. We have a few other things that we can use. We have a Sahili's Artistry. So 4 blue, choose 1 or both. Create a token as a copy of target artifact. Create a token as a copy of target creature, except it's an artifact in addition to its other types. So you can use this to copy spells, copy your tokens, away we go. We have a Marionette Master. So 4 black for a 1/3 human artifice with Fabricate 3. So as this enters, you can choose to put 3+1/+1 counters on it, or you can choose to make 3/1/1 servo creature tokens. Whenever an artifact you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, target opponent loses life equal to Marionette Master's power. So you have golems that all die, then their opponents could potentially get domed for a bunch. We have Handweir Militia Captain. 1 and a white for a 2/2 human soldier. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 4 or more creatures, transform Handweir Militia Captain. And then when you transform it, it turns into, if I can just do it, all right, Westvale Cult Leader. So it is a star. Westvale Cult Leader's power and toughness are equal to the number of creatures you control. At the beginning of your end step, put a 1/1 white and black human cleric creature token onto the battlefield. Okay, so we're going to put more tokens on the field. We have Arami of the Dead Tide. So 1 blue black for a 1/4 legendary creature Merfolk Wizard. Tap, exile cards from your graveyard equal to the number of opponents you have. Target creature cards in your graveyard gains Encore until end of turn. The Encore cost is equal to its mana cost. So you could have things disappear, exile them with Arami, cast them for their Encore, and then there's a copy that's made for each of your opponents. So you can make a whole bunch of tokens, a whole bunch of copies of things, and possibly, trigger your Soundwave, but through a whole bunch of means. Okay, Might Seer. So this is 3 and a white for a 4/2 with first strike, Phyrexian Soldier. As long as your turn, creature tokens you control get +1/+1 have first strike. Okay, 3 and a Phyrexian white, create a 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Might artifact creature token with Toxic 1, and this creature can't block. So you can make tokens with it, seems pretty good. We have a Blade of Cells. So Blade of Cells, equipped creature has Myriad and equipped for 4. So Myriad says that when you attack with it, you make a copy for each of your opponents. Again, making copies of the tokens. Okay. Then we have Recruiter of the Guard. So 2 and a white for a 1/1 creature human soldier. When Recruiter of the Guard enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a creature card with mana value, toughness 2 or less. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Well, a number of my creatures have small toughness. So, for instance, like the Datasmith, or Toby, or the Whirler Rogue, the Mischievous Mystic, Malcator, the Splicers. So you can go and tutor up a number of targets with this, meaning you can get some pretty good value out of it. And when you're done getting your value the first time through, we're going to play Conjurer's Closet and Teleportation Circle to go and blink things some more. So if it wasn't enough with Kaikar, now we've got some more ways to blink things and bring things back into play. Okay? Now, let's talk about our dear Planeswalkers, because many of the Planeswalkers that are on this list are also Planeswalkers that have got abilities to make tokens. So, for instance, Teysa Spirit's Justice. So 2 white black for a 3 loyalty Planeswalker, and it says, the static is whenever 1 or more creatures you control and or creature cards in your graveyard are put into exile, you may choose a creature card from among them. Until end of turn, target token you control becomes a copy of it, except that it's flying. 2, surveil 2, then exile a card from a graveyard. +1, create a 1/1 white and black spirit creature token with flying. -2, exile target creature with exile target creature you control. For each other player, exile up to 1 target creature that player controls. So All those modes are useful. You make tokens, you can surveil, you can make things that go in your grave. Exile can make tokens. It's a kind of interesting card. Oops, I missed this card. So Teysa, Opulent Oligarch. So 1 white black for a 2/3 legendary creature, human advisor with death touch. At the beginning of your end step, investigate for each opponent who lost life this turn. Whenever a clue you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, create a 1/1 white and black spirit creature token with flying. This ability triggers only once each turn. So you're going to make extra bodies with Teysa. Ashiok, Nightmare Muse. So 3 blue black for a 5 loyalty planeswalker. +1, create a 2/3 blue and black nightmare creature token with whenever this creature attacks or blocks, each opponent exiles the top 2 cards of his or her library. -3, return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Then that player exiles a card from their hand. And -7, you may cast up to 3 face-up cards from your opponent's own from exile without paying their mana costs. All right. So you're making tokens that are going to block and get in the way and exile things. Kaito, Dancing Shadows, so 2 black-blue for 3 loyalty planeswalker. Kaito. Whenever one or more creature tokens you control deal combat damage to a player, you may return one of them to its owner's hand. If you do, you may activate loyalty abilities of Kaito twice this turn rather than once. +1, up to 1 target creature can't attack or block until your next turn. 0, draw a card. Or -2, create a 2/2 colorless drone artifact. With death touch that says when this artifact leaves the battlefield, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. All right, seems pretty neat. I don't know. Sorin Solemn Visitor, so 2 black white for a 4 loyalty. Until your next turn, creature control get +1/+1 gain lifelink. -2, create a 2/2 black vampire creature token. -6, get an emblem at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep. That player sacrifices a creature. Okay. We have Mu Yanling, Sky Dancer. So 1 blue for a 2 loyalty planeswalker, Yanling, +2. Until your end of turn, up to 1 target creature gets -2/-0 and loses flying. -3, create a 4/4 elemental bird creature token with flying. And -8, you get an emblem with islands you control have tapped to draw a card. Okay, kind of handy. We have a Tevesh Zat, Doom of Fools. So 4 and a black for 4 loyalty planeswalker. Create 2 0/1 black thrall creature tokens. +1, you may sacrifice another creature or planeswalker. If you do, draw 2 cards, and draw another card if you sacrifice a permanent was a commander. -10, gain control of all commanders. Put all commanders from the command zone onto the battlefield under your control. All right, this is a very powerful card, and opponents are going to want it dead. And then Elspeth's Son's Champion, where the +1 makes 3 +1/+1s. Destroy all creatures with power 4 or greater. And then you get an emblem, creature you control get +2/+1 have flying. Okay, so we're making lots of tokens. Last but not least, we have a couple of value plays that we kind of want to do. So we have some recursion or some ways to interact with your planeswalkers. So Liliana's talent is black for an enchantment aura. Enchant a planeswalker. Enchanted planeswalker has -8? Yeah, -8. Put all creature cards from all graveyards onto the battlefield under your control. Whenever a creature deals damage to the enchanted planeswalker, destroy that creature. So you have a bunch of, any of them getting a Rise of the Dark Realms stuck to your planeswalker seems pretty good to me. We have a Sun Titan, and we have a Karmic Guide, just ways to recur some things. And last but not least, we have Dark Depths and the Thespian Stage. It was kind of a funny way to get a win. So Dark Depths comes in with a whole bunch of ice counters on. I believe it is 20 ice counters. 10 ice counters. And it's 3 mana to remove an ice counter. But the interaction with Thespian Stage is pretty neat. Because you can come down, you can have Thespian Stage copy Dark Depths, and then it becomes a Dark Depths. We have to sacrifice one, so we'll sacrifice this one. This becomes a Dark Depths, but Dark Depths has no counters on it. So what happens when it has no counters? When Dark Depths has no counters on it, sacrifice it. If you do, create Merit Lodge, a legendary 20/20 black avatar creature token with flying and indestructible. So the fact of the matter is you get a big old flying token that you can then use to smash your opponents around. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. This deck is very dubious, all right? It's a bracket. It has got some spicy pieces to it, but spicy pieces don't make for a great deck, all right? I'm aware of this. I have played this before. I would call this like a bracket 2 because we're looking to do something goofy. We're looking to play Golem tokens and do silly things. So it's not a great deck. But it is a lot of fun. I enjoy it because you know what? I love to see my Transformers on the battlefield. It doesn't matter to me that this deck is kind of stinky PU. But I don't bring it out all the time. If my opponents are playing a stronger power level, then I tend to keep it tucked away because I know it's going to be not very, very well received. All right, so it's a fun deck. I do like it. I don't wish I had the chance to play it more often, but not everybody wants to play with that much removal, or play with that many planeswalkers, or play a goofy theme like playing golems and creature tokens that are going to beat them and smash them. So it's kind of fun. It's kind of annoying. And, you know, some of my opponents don't really like it. Also, I don't have a lot of mill in the deck, which, you know, you could lean into that aspect of it rather than just playing creature tokens. But anyway, that's kind of the build. Esper token, creature tokens is kind of a fun ability. It's kind of a second tier commander for that purpose, because like people would often play Marnius Calgar for the same sort of reason. Anyway, that's the deck. The list is in the description down below. It is on Moxfield, along with all the other decks I brew here on the channel, and you can see them all there. In addition to that, you can go and find our social media. You can go find the podcast. You can even find our channel, the Brawl gameplay that I've been doing for all of you to enjoy. So, please like and subscribe. Let me know that you're watching, and if there are other commanders you'd like to see, please let me know. I keep brewing. I enjoy this brewing games, commanders now and the more I play, the more commanders I want to try and build up and play. So let me know down below if there's something you'd like to see. I think next time we get together to do this, I'm probably going to be showing you some bits and pieces of things that I've kind of fooling around with, but haven't finished the build yet. But yeah, that's I kind of think what might be on deck for next week. All right. Thanks very much, everybody. Have yourselves a good night. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.